Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Ohio.
It is an absolutely glorious weather day, late afternoon in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And the Brewers with 4 games to go, 2.5 behind Colorado for that second and final spot in the National League wildcard race. So a big one for the Brew Crew here today. And hi again, everybody, alongside the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley and Jim Day. I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds Baseball. You know, watching Joey Votto this year, there's no doubt he's having an MVP sort of year. Now, whether he wins it or not, that, of course, remains to be seen. But you don't have to try to convince the Milwaukee Brewers as to who should be the MVP.
Tell you, Tom, you watch Joey swing the bat, and whether it's against the Brewers or anybody else, but especially against the Brewers, the numbers that he's able to put up have just been phenomenal. And it just continues time and time again, year after year. But the thing that amazes me is the small adjustments that Votto continues to make, whether it be choking up on the bat, whether it be moving up on the plate, fouling off that pitch on the inside that looks like he's just doing a little tennis racket volley. He continues to make adjustments, and that's what makes him a great hitter.
And you stack up his numbers from the year he won the Most Valuable Player award. It's hard to believe that's 8 seasons ago. He's better in every category. Batting average slightly less, and the RBIs are going to be less. So home runs a legitimate chance with 4 to go to better that mark of 37. Let's turn the page now to today's pitching matchup. Sal Romano. I know his last one was a little bit rocky, but he's been very impressive here the last couple of months.
Yeah, he really has, Tom. I think any young pitcher, what you're trying to understand is, are they getting better as the season moves along? First 8 starts of the year, the Reds only won 2 ball games for Romano. The last 7 starts, they've won 5. The numbers are skewed a bit with the 4 runs that he allowed in the game against the Red Sox. But let's face it, this kid has really come a long way. You see a lot of breaking balls in that video. That breaking ball is set up by strikes with the fastball and changeup.
Meanwhile, it's Brent Suter, young man from Mulder High School in Cincinnati, and when he's had the chance to pitch for these Brewers, he's thrown the ball well.
This guy's the fastest worker I think I've ever seen in Major League Baseball. He gets the ball, he's coming to the plate. Everything he does is quick. Even in the shower, he's in and out, 1 minute.
Well, then it's a good thing he's on the mound on a getaway day today. Sal Romano going to visit with Jim Day. Jim Day's the man. He's ready to roll. Final game in Milwaukee. Reds and Brew Crew. You're watching the Reds on Fox Sports Ohio.
check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time. Closing out a 3-game set here at Miller Park, and Sal Romano in his final start of the season hoping to go out a winner over down the stretch here. Romano, despite last time not the start he's looking for, he's been very, very good for the Reds. In fact, making a legitimate bid for the rotation next season. I asked Sal, what have you learned this season at the big league level?
Be a starter in the big leagues, you can't have 2 pitches. You got to have 3, especially no matter how hard I throw. Guys are able to time that up. So having a a good changeup and locating my fastball on both sides of the plate, having that 2-seamer that runs back over to lefties, having the the sinker into the righties, being able to locate all. Your fastball is not just 1 pitch; it can be 6 different pitches. So I think I really learned a lot about myself this season, and I had a lot of success in the second half, and I definitely want to take all those positives into the 2018.
And that's our Elk and Elk storylines for today. And Sal hopes the storyline at the end of this one is a victory for the Reds. It would be a series victory as well. Standing by, Tom Brenneman and the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley. A little Thursday matinee action on Fox Sports Ohio. Reds and Brew Crew next.
Was supposed to have been a night game, but once they found out their beloved Green Bay Packers are taking on the hated Chicago Bears later tonight, they flipped this one to a late afternoon start. Red starting lineup brought to you by Menards under manager Brian Price, 67 and 91. Hamilton, Kiblahan, Votto, Jeanette, Winker, Peraza in for the injured Cozart at short, and the latter third of Duvall, Stuart Turner, and Sal Romano. Brent Weber, or Brent Suter, thinking of somebody else here. Brent Suter went to Moeller High School in Cincinnati, Ohio. And he went from there to Harvard University. How about that? Got his degree in environmental science and public policy.
That's why he's quick in the shower. He wants to conserve energy, and that's what he wants to go into once he gets out of the ball game.
He comes from a very, very athletic family, does Brent Suter. We've talked about it before. His first pitch in there, a strike to Billy Hamilton, and we're underway. His mom, Shirley, a 4-year letter-winning swimmer at Penn State. His father, Mike, was a safety on Penn State's 1982 national championship team for the Nittany Lions. So no surprise that The offspring would be blessed with some athletic talent.
Leadoff batters, 3-4 hole hitters. Suter handles them quite well.
In the air. And there it is again. Pitchers are running away from that pop-up. I mean, that's been one of our themes in this series. Is a pitcher ever going to catch a pop-up?
Not that high.
Take a look at the Brewers on defense, presented by Ford. It's, with the exception of second base, the same group we've seen in this series already. You may remember Eric Thames had to leave the game last night when he fouled a ball off. Said it's the third or fourth time he's fouled the ball off the same spot. They had to help him, basically carry him off the field. Hopefully he's going to be okay. So Walker goes over to first and Sogard starts at second base. Boy, this is the way baseball's supposed to be played. Get the ball and let's go. Suter gets ahead of 1-2 on Patrick Kiblahan, who gets a nod over Suarez at third today. You know, it does make you wonder. Why would it take so long for everybody else to work when you watch this guy? I mean, the catcher's ready to go. The batter, by and large, is ready to go.
I think it's all in what you're accustomed to doing when you're on the mound or at the plate, for that matter. It's a learned experience.
Strikes out Kiblahan for the second out of the inning.
But for Brent Suter, that working quickly, changing speeds, it makes hitters start to jump at the baseball and maybe swing at pitches that they would not normally swing at. That pitch was in off the plate. Kiblahan swings at it anyway. He's in the books.
Joey Votto again reaching base 3 times in the game last night. We'll talk more about that later. A soft liner at the second baseman, and man, it played perfectly that time. The red trim and the red caps with a black bill. And a Milwaukee Brewers starting lineup. This is a must-win every game the rest of the way. The Brewers have to win to have any chance. Brought to you by Menards. They'll go with Sogard, Walker, Braun, Travis Shaw, Domingo Santana in right, Stephen Vogt behind the plate. RC in the shortstop, Phillips again in center, Suter on the mound and starting it for the Redlegs. He will not turn 24 until October the 12th. Is Big Sal Romano.
Relaxed command early. If you see that, he could make the Brewers an awfully long day.
2 starts ago, he had his best start as a major leaguer. A surprise to some that he was not allowed to try and pick up what would have been his first major league complete game. He only had 97 pitches against the Pirates. and went 8 innings. Allowed 5 hits and no runs. Reds won that game 2-1, you may remember. But his last start, 4 innings, 5 hits, 4 walks, and 5 runs in a loss to the Boston Red Sox. 3-1 on Sogard. 275 batter. He's done a nice job since they brought him up. He was really hot for a long time there and then cooled off. Been nicked up, but back in there today. Full count. Today is Romano's 16th major league appearance and start. It's his 14th straight start since he was inserted into the Reds starting rotation following the All-Star break. His last 7 games, a 3-2 record, an ERA at 2.9. He's gotten better as his season has gone longer.
And I think that's the #1 thing that you look for from a young player or a young pitcher. Are they continuing to make progress in the right direction?
Not a good way to get it started.
You can see Romano shaking his head out there. A little bit frustrated by the walk to Sogard.
In there, first pitch, strike 1 to Neil Walker. These Brewers like to run. Most stolen bases of any team in Major League Baseball. Now, a lot of those are chewed up by VR.
And Broxton.
And Broxton.
And both of those guys were mainstays in the lineup early in the season. Neither, of course, playing this afternoon.
Sogard has 3. He's been thrown out 3 times. VR has 23. Broxton has 21. But then they have, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other players in double figures. Nice block there by Stuart Turner.
I think if you're manager Craig Counsell and you see that a pitcher is a 1-5 or a 1-6 to the plate as far as delivery time, he's going to try to take advantage of it.
Stolen base numbers we were talking about, 127. The Redlegs just behind him at 118. The team Colorado is chasing for that final wild card spot, playoff spot in the National League is Colorado. The Rockies are off today. Rockies won the 2 games against Miami that wrapped up yesterday. And looking ahead to tomorrow, Ryu, the left-hander, will start it for the Dodgers. And Bettis will start it for Colorado. That series will be played in Denver. Down the left field line and nicely done. Staring into the sunlight. But the big fella wearing the shades, bringing a mitt, getting ready for the pack tonight. How about that?
It's a pretty good play with your daughter and your son sitting right next to you. My dad caught this at the game.
How cool is that? That one fisted into right center field, a base hit. So right from the get-go, here come the Brewers, a walk and a single. So here's who everybody has left. The Cardinals, it's almost impossible. I mean, it's hard enough for the Brewers already at 2.5 back. The Cardinals 3.5. It's just not going to happen. I mean, they're mathematically still alive with 4 to go. Cubbies wrapped up the Central with a win last night. They'll play again tonight. The Brewers and the Cardinals will play one another starting tomorrow night in St. Louis, while Colorado, as we mentioned, hosts the Dodgers. Ryan Braun looks at a strike. 270 batters, 17 home runs, 50 batted in for Braun. Braun appears in his 102nd game. It's his 97th start. He has missed almost 40 games this year with 2 different stints on the DL. So his numbers thus way down. He's been continually plagued with a left calf strain. And that's one of those where all it takes is, one stride and all of a sudden it's back again.
Or hit the base wrong.
And 2 Romano to Braun. Threw a fastball in on his hands at 95 and fouled away.
That's where you have to pitch, Braun. Breaking ball for effect, off the plate away, not for a strike. Fastball in, either right at the hands or down on the inside corner for contact. If it's slow and out over the plate, Braun will kill it.
Oh dear, shattered bat, but you got to find an out here. That's a good play by Peraza. The runners do advance, 2nd and 3rd, 1 out in the inning. Look at the Reds on defense, presented by Ford. Mentioned Peraza getting a start for Cozart, who has again tweaked that troublesome quad. Turner gets a rare start behind the plate. Winker, as a pinch hitter the last 2 nights, has homered and doubled. He gets a nod in right field today. Now Travis Shaw, a golden chance for him to reach triple digits in runs batted in. He sits at 99, and he's got runners at 2nd and 3rd and only 1 out. I'm a little surprised maybe the Reds don't think about walking Shaw here in the 1st inning. Right-handed batter on deck who does swing and miss a lot in Santana, as opposed to Shaw, who gets on base. But just like that, Romano's ahead of him 0-2.
Pretty good changeup right there from Romano as he breaks that one out.
Romano facing the Brewers for the 3rd time, and things have not gone well for him against this team. In fairness, one of them came all the way back in April. That was his major league debut, you may remember, when he went 3 innings, walked 4 batters, and allowed 3 runs. But during this stretch where he's been pitching well, he really got kicked around. Here in Milwaukee on the 13th of August, 7 runs in 5 innings. And now all of a sudden, Steve Bauman, the Reds trainer, noticing something's not right about Romano, and the manager slowly walking behind Bauman.
Looks like a right hip flexor issue. At least that's the area that Romano is pointing to. He's saying that he's all right.
All right, so Romano's going to stay in there. Certainly worth keeping an eye on moving forward now. Don't know whether it's bothered him the whole game or something maybe he just tweaked on that last pitch. He's ahead at 1 ball and 2 strikes. How about that? Came back with a slider to strike him out.
It looked all right there. That was a yellow hammer down and in. That pitch is all set up by the first pitch of the at-bat. A fastball right above the belt on the inside corner. It was called a strike. You get a changeup, swing and miss, and then you come back with that bad boy. It's tough to decipher.
One more to go, and it's a free swinging Domingo Santana, but we know he can hurt you. He did here the other night in the first inning. Hit a 3-run home run. His 29th home run of the season.
Santana very similar to the approach that Ryan Braun takes. He's susceptible to the ball in. He likes the breaking ball, the off-speed pitch, and the fastball away from him so he can get extended.
Hey, this guy's got a chance to be a pretty good player. He just turned 25. Got a chance to hit 30. He's already knocked in more than 80. His on-base percentage is almost .37. And look at those numbers in the first inning. One ball and one strike, second and third, none out. Peraza. And what a job by Romano.
Nice comeback.
First two reached. He retires the next three, and a run does not score. First team in Major League Baseball history to make the playoffs 1 year removed from losing 100 games in a season. Unbelievable. Their last playoff win, I call that game, the 2002 American League Division Series, a series they would lose to the Angels of Anaheim. But congratulations to Paul Molitor and the entire Twins organization. You know, they brought back Terry Ryan for one more run at it, who has been one of the truly great minds in baseball history. He's in a small market up there, a smaller market anyway, in Minneapolis. As Jeanette did not like that call a little bit, 0-2, and he's having words with Mike Evert, the home plate umpire. He wanted timeout. Just because you ask for it doesn't mean you get it. And he clearly had asked for it by the time Suter had started into that windup. But anyway, congratulations to Terry Ryan. I know this year there have been others that have sort of been running the ship more so than Ryan. But when they brought him back to try and put this thing together, that's exactly what happened in Minnesota. Hook to the right side. And the first four Reds retired by Suter to start the game.
But it looked like Jeanette there was trying to slow down the tempo of Brent Suter. And if the Reds are going to have success today, they've got to get him out of his rhythm a little bit. When Suter's working really quick and he's being able to use that breaking ball on both sides of the plate, makes it tough to make some consistent contact, especially from the left side of the dish.
You know, guys like Suter are the guys that are becoming a forgotten breed. Guys who just know how to locate,
change speeds,
throw a lot of strikes. All this guy does every year at the minor league level is just pitch great baseball. We talked about Colorado Springs, right? How hard it is to pitch there. And their number 2 overall prospect in the organization, a left-hander we saw out of the bullpen, Hader. Right? Well, you don't see Suter's name on the top 8 or 10 on the prospect list, and all he does every single year is put up excellent numbers. Here's strike 3 to Winker.
Everything's away except for that. Right on the inside corner, right at the bottom of the kneecaps.
When he's going right back to work.
When you watch a guy like Suter, you think to yourself, if I'm a young pitcher, I watch how he manipulates the ball around the plate. And I think to myself, well, I throw the ball 10 miles an hour harder than he does. If I could put some of what he's doing into play in my game, you'd be awfully good.
Still throws a lot of fastballs, though.
Well located fastball. He'll throw one for a strike, and then he'll take it about 3 inches off the plate. You think it's the same pitch. You swing, you hit it off the end of the bat.
2-2 on Jose Peraza. No score. We're in the top of the 2nd inning. This late afternoon start. Sharply hit ground ball. Arcia throws not in time.
Good hustle.
Peraza can run. We know that. He legs it out for an infield hit. Brewers might want to have him take a look at this one. Still waiting on Greg Counsell as the home plate umpire. Yeah, they're going to challenge this thing.
It's a strong throw from Arcia. There's also a great bit of hustle by Peraza. Now, you know, you're always going to get the oohs and ahs from the home crowd.
Sure. Well, they just put it up on the big jumbotron here. That's the best angle I've seen yet. And I think, well, I'm not going to even speculate.
That's really close. That's really close because the ball was a little bit of a short hop. And he's out.
Yep. So a good challenge by the Milwaukee manager. No score after an inning and a half.
but looking for bounce back today. Admitted he was a bit amped up against the Red Sox, and I asked him about that start.
I fell behind, wasn't able to use my changeup a lot, and I think it's been a huge pitch for me, you know, through that streak. Just falling behind. I got strike one is huge. I got to be able to start guys ahead 0-1. Because after that, I can use all my stuff, and my stuff plays pretty well. So if I can just get ahead of hitters, use my changeup, I think I could be, you know, have a pretty good game.
Worked around trouble in the first and is falling behind 1-0 here.
Boy, allowed a single after a leadoff walk in that opening inning, and then retired the next three, including a strikeout of the left-handed batting Travis Shaw, with runners at second and third. Vogt drops it off to the third base side out of play. 2 balls and a strike to Stephen Vogt. The 32-year-old catcher spent seasons, all-star seasons, a couple of them anyway, with the Oakland Athletics.
I think when you watch Sal Romano pitch, I have a tendency to watch the hitter as he releases the baseball. Very rarely do you see hitters just connect right on the sweet spot of the bat time and time again with Romano on the mound. The times that Romano gets himself in trouble is when he falls behind, gets into a fastball count, and then he leaves the ball up. When he's down, and he's down early, he has a tendency to just really keep the ball off the good part of the bat.
That's strike 3. Second strikeout early on here for the Big Reds right-handed.
And both of these strikeouts come on sliders down and in. The first one to Travis Shaw, this one to Stephen Vogt. That pitch starts out over the plate. It looks like a fastball that's going to sink away. You start that bat head to get started, and then you realize it's not going away.
Now Orlando Arcia, the shortstop, at 274, has 15 home runs and even 50 runs batted in. Fastball way in. Only 3 games being played in the National League, and the only one with any sort of playoff ramifications, as we mentioned earlier, and they're quite slim for the St. Louis Cardinals hosting the Chicago Cubs. In fact, there are, you know, outside of, I guess it's still a chance, Boston and New York to determine the American League Eastern Division champion. But going into the weekend, there will be 0 suspense in the American League outside of that for the postseason. The National League, still this wild card, second wild card to be determined. Arizona's already nailed down the first wild card, and the Diamondbacks will host either the Rockies, the Brewers, or the Cardinals in Arizona in the 1-game playoff Wednesday. I believe the American League game is Tuesday and the National League game is Wednesday, because the American League playoffs start first. That would be Thursday. National League Friday. You know, I take that back. There is one other very important race still to be decided, and that would be, because we've gotten away from the All-Star game deciding which league would have home field advantage. There is tremendous importance for the Cleveland Indians and the Houston Astros about trying to get home field advantage. The Indians are 1 game better going into this final weekend.
And that was a spot for most of this season. It appeared to be a foregone conclusion that the Astros would have that best record.
That ball is smoked, but right at the left fielder for the second out of the inning. Boy, you're not kidding. But then when you rip off, what, 23 in a row, it tends to change in a hurry.
Changes the dynamic.
And then you have the whole home field advantage through the World Series thing working, depending, of course, if you can get there. But, you know, the Dodgers right now, with 102 wins, they've nailed that down for the National League postseason. They need to win 1 more or have Cleveland and or Houston lose another game. But you have to get there. And the way it shapes up right now, the Dodgers in the opening round will play the wild card winner. And if I'm the Dodgers, I have to be a little concerned if that turns out to be the Arizona Diamondbacks. The last 7 games they played against one another, as recently as 2 weeks ago, Arizona won every single game. And Robbie Ray has completely dominated that Dodger lineup. And the feeling is it was Zach Greinke starting in the 1-game playoff for Arizona, that Ray would get the ball in game 1 and potentially would get it again in game 5. Now, some might come back and say, well, that's all fine and dandy, but the Dodgers have this cat named Kershaw.
I'm not sure I would be real comfortable having to play the Diamondbacks in that first round.
They're pretty good.
Well, you have the 2 guys that you're talking about that will make at least 3 of the 5 starts. That's Greinke and Robbie Ray.
It's easy to forget when you play in a division where the Dodgers are just dominating. As that one was out of the reach of Peraza, that'll be a 2-out single by Brent Phillips. But Arizona, as a second-place team this year, has won 92 games. And there's still 3 games left to be played.
You look back to some of the games that the Diamondbacks played back just after the All-Star break. They went on an incredible run. And if not for the Dodgers doing what they did outside of the division, might be talking about a different story.
Nobody played better in their division than Arizona did. 45-31.
Well, you talk about the 92 wins that the Diamondbacks have.
Woo! I don't mean to interrupt you there, big boy. Now that's a big league catch right there.
Line drive. 92 wins for the Diamondbacks. That's the same amount of wins that the Boston Red Sox had
as a division leader.
So just think about that.
Yep. And it's only 3 fewer wins than the Washington Nationals have. And it's 3 more wins than the Chicago Cubs have. Suter gone on strikes, and that will retire the side. Red season tickets. Take your shot at the Swing for the Seats event Saturday, October the 7th. You step up to the plate. Very simple. You hit a home run, you get your 2018 season tickets for free. For more information, call 765-7600 or visit reds.com/swing. There are some rules and restrictions. Check them out. Have you made up your mind, Cowboy, if you're throwing the BP for that?
Yes, I have. That ain't happening. Anything that has to do with the two letters BP, forget about it.
Straight up into the air off the bat of Adam Duvall to lead off this Reds third, and just beyond the reach of Shaw. You know, some people, I've had a couple of buddies that have heard us talking about this, and they'll say, that fellow right there got that foul ball. Reds fan, could you really not go out at this point because of the injuries through your career and the surgeries and so forth and throw a batting practice from 60 feet 6 inches?
Not a chance. I would be very fortunate to get it from the mound to the catcher without a significant arc, and then I would need some type of pain medicine immediately as I cross the third baseline, preferably a shot into my skull.
It doesn't sound very good.
No.
I want to stay away from BP then. Now this one is playable for Shaw, not the fan. 1 out. Tell you, Suter is really throwing the ball well. The Reds have only had one batter, what you'd call square one up. That was a line out by Votto to end the 1-2-3 first inning. The shortstop, 2 away. Well, for our Reds fans in Columbus, Ohio, don't forget to join Rick Pizzo and former Ohio State great. That's Rick Pizzo, I beg your pardon. And boy, was he a great one. James Laurinaitis. Buckeye Weekly on Monday. They'll recap the game against Rutgers. Buckeye Weekly, Monday night, 7 o'clock on our sister network, Sports Time Ohio. Why don't we get that? Why wouldn't we get that in Cincinnati? There are Ohio State grads all over Cincinnati. Well, I understand that we air the Urban Meyer show on Saturday, so that's why we don't get Buckeye Week. James Laurinaitis. Boy, what a player he was in college and the NFL. Great career.
He was a crusher.
Oh, yeah, middle linebacker. Well, they've had so many great linebackers year after year after year, but the greatest of them all I have the pleasure of working with every Sunday, and that would be Chris Spielman. Shattered back. That's what Spielman used to do to guys. And Laurinaitis shattering people.
Brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Matt Cain will call it a career at season's end. He'll start on Saturday. He threw the only perfect game in Giants history. Jose Altuve, boy, he's putting together a Hall of Fame career. 4th right-handed hitter in MLB history to have 4 straight 200-hit seasons, joining Michael Young, Kirby Puckett, and Al Simmons. And the Oakland A's, 8 walk-off home runs this season, most by any MLB team since 1995. That's the year the Indians had 9.
Tell you what, I don't know about you, Cowboy, but I don't know how anybody else can win that American League MVP than Altuve this year. I mean, you look at that leaderboard on everything there is, and he is all over.
Speed hit combination. Tough to beat.
Hitting .347 for the year is Altuve. And for a guy who doesn't hit a lot of home runs, you start looking at all the other categories. Hits, number 1. Runs scored, number 3. Doubles, top 10. Stolen bases, 3rd. On base percentage, 3rd. In slugging percentage, he's 5th. I mean, this guy, what a year. Every year. And you can rest assured, for all those youngsters out there, somebody's telling you you're too small to do this or you're not enough of this to do that. Believe me, and he's talked about it thousands of times, Altuve has always been told he was too small. It's never going to happen. What's he, about 5'6", 5'7"? I'm sure people told you that, right?
All day, every day. University of Alabama coach told my dad.
Well, then why do you still root for them?
Baseball coach.
What? I don't care. They're from Alabama, and anybody from there told you that. Why in the world would you ever root for them in anything?
He got fired.
What, when you made your big league debut, he got fired?
No. Probably after the 3rd year, I beat him twice.
Ground ball off the bat of Sogard. Peraza. Throw in time. No score. We are in the 3rd inning. So you had a college coach look you right in the eye and say, you know
He didn't
what,
tell me,
man?
he told my dad that. I wanted to go to.
I know you grew up an Alabama fan. You wanted to pitch for the Crimson Tide.
Well, actually, I wanted to play quarterback.
Well, everybody did, right?
But that wasn't happening.
Yeah, back in your day, that would have been probably who? Mike Shula? Was he the quarterback at Alabama when you were growing up? You guys are right around the same age.
No,
You might be a little bit older.
Jeff Rutledge.
Oh, Jeff Rutledge. Number 14, right? Is that right?
I think you're right.
I don't know. I'm not sure. 2 away in the inning. Well, your breakout MLB season is on Nintendo Switch. RBI Baseball 2017 has it all. Favorite teams, players, ballparks. Get RBI Baseball today for Nintendo Switch. Learn more today at RBIGame.com. Ryan Braun making his way to the plate. Both pitchers throwing the ball very, very well. Romano had a little bump in the road to start the game, a lot like Homer Bailey did last night. Bailey talked about it after the game. First 2 batters, he had a single and a walk. And then Braun hit a ground ball that they got the force out at second. The throw to first was initially called safe for the runner. The Reds asked him to review the play. It was overturned. So there was a runner at third, 2 outs. And that started a string for Bailey where until that 5th where he gave up 3 hits but had a runner thrown out of the plate, he was virtually unhittable. Well, today Romano starts out walked single. He goes out, and only 1 base runner since.
I think any time that you come out of the bullpen, you start a ball game, And the same can be said of coming out of the bullpen, but it's probably more important for a starter. You figure out where your release point is going to be on that given day, the surroundings that are back behind home plate. You're just trying to get yourself comfortable. And it appears that one Sal Romano has gotten comfortable.
The Brewers dominated early, won 6 of the first 7 and hitting home runs and outscored the Reds big time. But the Reds flipped it. 7 of the last 11 they've won. They've scored over 6 runs per game and have belted 23 home runs. And make no mistake about it, that victory over the Brewers last night, huge. As far as the Brewers trying to get that second wild card, it was a big setback for them last night.
Boy, it sure was. You could feel it talking to a lot of the fans as we were heading out right after the game, and even before the game today. And the difference, I think if you're the Brewers right now, the difference if you win that game last night, you know, you're 1.5 back, and you have a chance if you win today to be 1 back with 3 to go. Now you're trying to win to be 2 back with 3 to go. Dumped into left center field by Billy, so here we go. Hamilton aboard. That is the first Reds base runner of the game, and it's Hamilton to start in the 4th inning. Now, Craig Counsell has had a rather short leash with Brent Suter. He had an injury, so when he first came back into the rotation, they had him on a very short pitch count. Basically, he was a 3-inning pitcher his first 2 times back. His last 2 times, he's gone 5 innings, no runs, 5 1/3, 1 run. So even though he's a very low pitch count right now here in the 4th at 38, they'll be keeping an eye on that. It won't get much past 65, 70, 75 max.
He's going to keep a huge eye on Billy Hamilton.
Hamilton trying to become the first Reds player to lead the major leagues in stolen bases. Believe it or not, now they have him caught down there, and he'll be out. Bobby Tolan, the last Red to lead the league in steals back in 1970. A left-hander should have a good move.
The second move was a little bit different than the first as far as the head movement. And Billy, I think, had already made up his mind he was going to run on first move. Didn't work.
Ball hit a long way by Kiblahan. And it is gone. A home run by Patrick Kiblahan, number 9 for him. And the Reds are on the board.
I think that's one of the reasons Patrick Kivleham was starting today. He hit a home run off of Suter the last time the two faced.
And he gets him again.
Now how big does that pickoff look?
No kid. But it is the Reds in front, 1-0. And now Votto. We're starting to talk Votto. I mean, this year, and I know what he did the second half of last season, but this year has just been beyond belief. He's been on base 314 times, was on base 3 more times last night. In fact, last night was the 51st time this year he's been on base 3 times or more in a game. That also leads the major leagues. And it has tied his career mark set in 2015. So he has a chance to better yet another prior career high. If he can find a game between now and the end of the year to get on base 3 times. 0 for 2 his first 2 times up today. That was Arcia who threw him out. That arm he has, they move him into the outfield.
In an era that we're in now, most players, hitters, I will say, getting as far down on the bat as they can. Votto choking up as much as possible, and he's all over him with his home run category.
Suter beating Jeanette to the bag. Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by Cincinnati Children's, changing the outcome together. And by your local Ford dealer, Ford, go further. We always send out a big special hello to those watching at Cincinnati Children's. Hoping this has been a great day for you. We pray tomorrow's an even better one. And what a beautiful day it is. There he is. Legendary Bob Uecker, and yes, he is still in the living flesh as the play-by-play radio voice of the Milwaukee Brewers. What a funny, 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 funny man. I've never met anybody in my life funnier than he is. He is so much fun to be around. The storytelling, the quick lines. There's a fly ball into left field. One away in the inning. I mean, he was holding court before the game today. We were sitting with him for a long time. They even have a statue of this guy outside the ballpark. He's been in Milwaukee a long, long time. He still goes out to Arizona where he spends the entire winter. But he loves his town, Milwaukee. I mean, this is his home.
Funny man.
Oh, gosh. You know, what gets lost sometimes through all his humor and his very humble nature of making fun of himself and so on and so forth. That's been his sort of shtick for a long, long time. He is an extraordinary talented guy. I mean, not only is a play-by-play baseball announcer, but I mean, he had a major hit television show for years and years and years. Of course, it used to run in Mr. Belvedere. I mean, he is a very accomplished actor. Of course, he was part of that movie Major League. Gosh, is he funny. That one hit Santana on the left hand, it looked like. Or did it? Yes, it did.
Santana sure is smiling to get smoked. That's one calm, cool customer right there.
Yes. So he's aboard with one out here in the bottom of the fourth inning. And here come the Brewers going first to third. Santana. And the throw is not going to get there. Now all of a sudden, they've got something going on.
Vogt only hitting at a .257 clip coming into today, but what we have seen here in this short series, anything that has been close to Stephen Vogt, he has barreled up, whether it be down the right field line or that ball that he's just shot right by Jeanette. Arcia is going to be a difficult guy for the Reds to double up here.
Now the pitch count for Romano is very high. For this being just the bottom of the fourth inning, Romano's now thrown 70 pitches in this game. He's only walked one batter, but there have been a lot of foul balls and a lot of deep counts. And he does have 4 strikeouts. Try to get him to chase that slider down and away, and Arcia, for the time being anyway, stays off of it. 1-0 Reds, last of the fourth.
This is the part of the at bat that it starts to swing back towards the hitter. You give 2 breaking balls after being 0-2. Now you've got to throw something that Arcia may like.
Like that. Broken bat liner to left field. Here comes Santana. And not going to be in time as he stumbles over home plate. We're tied at 1. Well, it was ugly. Santana coming in near to the plate.
Breaking ball looked like it was out over the plate. May have been a fastball out over the plate. I think Santana was trying to slide to the third base side of the bag and then reach back with his hand. Of course, for any club right now playing against the Reds with Duvall with ball in hand, you better be getting it to the next bag or you're going to be out.
Yeah, we mentioned last night Duvall, the league leader with 15 outfield assists. Billy Hamilton last night picked up his 13th. And the Reds' 18 lead the major leagues with 40 outfield assists. Here's Phillips. He singled into left center his first time up. So the Reds finally break through with a home run by Kim Lahan in the top of the 4th inning. The Brewers answered on a hit batter, a single, and a fly ball in the bottom. 1-1. It is just an absolutely perfect weather day here today. Just what a blessing indeed. I mean, it'd be hard pressed to find a cloud in the crystal blue skies above and light breeze. That will be a strikeout to end the inning. We played 4. We're tied at 1.
Excitement, drama, and thrilling plays. The 2017 Major League Baseball postseason that begins on October 3rd. Go to MLB.com/postseason for a full schedule. Jesse Winker back up for his 2nd time. Struck out looking first go round against the left-hander Suter. Winker, Peraza, and Duvall.
Winker did not like the called 3rd strike, which ended his first at bat by the home plate umpire Mike Everett. And Everett is the crew chief of this bunch. Bouncing ball up through the middle. Sogard, pretty strong arm. 1 out. Really strong arm.
See the ground ball up the middle. That's a strong throw with your entire momentum going into left field. There was no arc on that baseball, folks.
No. I really not noticed the games we've seen Sogard play. You know, a play where he really didn't have to show the arm off. After seeing that arm, it makes me wonder why they moved the shortstop all the way into right field when they pulled that shift on Joey Votto. Looked like Sogard has more than enough arm.
Maybe it's a range factor for Arcia being out there in the outfield and covering more ground.
There you go. So you're always thinking, Cowboy, that's the thing when you get out on the open range, get down to Mississippi in the wintertime and
calculate the range factor.
Absolutely. It's an infield hit by Peraza. He thought he had an infield hit his first time up, and a replay overturned a safe call at first. So now he does have an infield hit.
I'm not sure that you could bunt the ball any better than where that ball rolled down the third baseline. We had Hamilton aboard earlier, and Hamilton got a little greedy and got picked off. And I'm sure, well, at least you would like to think that Peraza would have been paying attention to that.
Well, he doesn't even have a two-step lead over there, and he had both of his hands on his knees. So I don't know if they've just told him to drop anchor and let's forget about this and see what happens offensively for a little while.
Well, with Duvall at the plate, you could play for the 2-run homer.
Precisely. That's why I think they've just lowered that anchor right down to the bottom.
Stephen Vogt does not throw well at all behind the plate, the Brewers catcher. Matter of fact, he's only thrown out one base runner all year and a limited amount behind the plate. But Brent Suter right now is getting the ball to the plate so quick, I'm not sure that you can get hardly any jump at all.
Well, he started to.
Just didn't get a jump, had to go back.
You know, I've been wondering all day today. I noticed very early this morning in downtown when I was outside walking around, all the flags in the city were flying at half staff, and apparently I'm not the only one wondering about it because they are here at Miller Park too. They had a Matthew Diker, an emergency medical technician and firefighter who died in the line of duty. That was earlier this morning. That must have been during the nighttime. So I'm very, very sorry to hear that. Our thoughts and prayers are with those who knew him. The governor of Wisconsin made that decision. Three and two the count on Duvall. You have Stuart Turner next. One out here in the fifth.
When you break so quickly to the plate as Suter does, anytime fatigue starts to be an issue, you start to leave the ball arm side, and that's where we're seeing Suter leave the pitches that have been out of the strike zone up and away to Duvall. Duvall hit one of the 3 home runs that the Reds tallied against Suter in his last start. Kivlahan has already done it again. Got the Reds on the board early. The third, well, he's not playing today. That would be Zach Kozar.
3-2. They don't start the runner, and just off the outside corner. And it's ball 4, and the Reds have 2 on with 1 out, and the number 8 hole hitter coming up. First walk issued by Suter.
Almost appeared that Suter was trying to cut that ball back to the outside corner for a strike, and the ball just stayed out on him.
Well, the Reds are going to need some help from the bottom part of this batting order. Obviously, they don't have anybody getting loose in the bullpen here in the 5th inning when your starter's giving up a run and 3 hits. So the pitcher spot is next. Short right. That'll fall in a hit. Quick throw to second. Not going to be in time for a force play.
This ball gets in on the hands of Stuart Turner, but he hits it in a perfect spot. That's the Bermuda Triangle down the right field line between the second, first, and right fielder.
All right, here comes Romano. He did put the bat on the ball, grounding out to the shortstop. His last time up. Romano has just 1 hit in 23 at bats. He has not knocked in a run. His 1 hit was a double. And quickly behind 0-2. Two on Romano. Reds have the bases loaded and the pitcher with a chance to break this 1-1 tie. Two out.
Sometimes if you're a manager, you think, well, either strike out or get a hit, but don't hit into a double play. Maybe they should have a sign for that.
Well, I think they know that. Now, Billy had a base hit his last time up into left center field. He popped up to the shortstop leading off the game. But Hamilton was starting too soon. It wound up being scored as a caught stealing because he was tagged out at second base. But it was a throw from the pitcher to the first baseman to the shortstop, which got Billy. I'll tell you, the fans have brought their A game fielding here in Milwaukee, this final home game for the Brewers today.
Not too many bobbles.
No, I mean, there have been 4 excellent plays already, and we're just in the 5th inning. Let's see if there's another one here. Nope.
Spoke too soon.
Straight whiff.
Now the guy's pumped down there, but it really doesn't count as a good play if you just pick it up off the ground.
Right.
You got to catch it in the air, pal.
Yep.
Come on.
I mean, I don't have a problem with the guys not going to try and catch it. I mean, they're not getting paid, and you don't need to end up in the emergency room with a broken finger or something. But if you're going to go over and pick it up, you can't
pump your fist
like you made a play.
Yeah. Well, the ones that I don't like are the ones that run up there like they're going to catch it, and then they bail out and the person behind them gets smoked.
That's right. Hamilton chases that pitch up in the strike zone, a fastball, and that's the inning. Suter pitches out of trouble.
It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Coming up later on, as we always do, we'll present our Miller Time moment, brought to you by Miller Lite. So stick around for that on this glorious weather Thursday afternoon, the Brewers' final home game of the year. And still with a heartbeat in that National League wild card race. Trying to get it down with a win here today, should they get it to 2 games with 3 to go. They lose this one and you can just about file it. I mean, is it mathematically possible? It is. Could you see the Dodgers sweeping the Rockies? You can. Can you see the Brewers sweeping the Cardinals? Don't know. Don't know any of it at the end of the day. I mean, nobody has a crystal ball, but
percentages would not be in their favor.
Suter leads off the inning and he's gone on strikes, and for Romano, that's 6 of them in the game. I mean, ever since they moved Craig Counsell, longtime player, he grew up in this area. His father worked for the Brewers for a number of years. He took over a team that was just simply not very good when Ron Renicky was fired. Well, they have improved in their winning percentage ever since he took over in May of 2015. They've gotten better every year. And I don't even know if their talent has gotten better every year, to be honest with you. I mean, they made some nice moves this year when it looked like they were going to be in this thing for the long haul. But I'll tell you what, for Counsell, and I know so many are so high on this pitching coach they have here.
Derek Johnson has a pretty good idea about what he's doing.
Because when you look at just the pure stuff of the starters the Brewers have run out there all year long this year. You know, we saw Zach Davies the other night, 17-game winner. I mean, you know, 17 wins, 17 wins.
And Jimmy Nelson was throwing the ball awfully well up until the point in time that he hurt his shoulder on the base pass.
That's right. But the bottom line is, I mean, neither one of those guys would be a number 1, a number 2, and maybe even a number 3 on what you would consider to be a World Series championship kind of team, right?
Right.
And then you fill in all the rest of the guys behind those two, and they're clearly the best two. And you're saying to yourself, pretty amazing. Now, their bullpen has held up quite well. They've had guys, as you mentioned the other night, that have really stepped up from almost out of nowhere. And Brian Price was talking about that a long time before the game on Tuesday, that, you know, he was asked a question, you know, looking ahead to 2018. Of course, that's the last thing Brian's thinking about right now. But what teams might be the favorite again in the National League Central? That one is shot into left field. That'll fall in a base hit for Sogard. So he is aboard with 1 out of this 1-1 game in 5th. And, you know, Brian's gave the politically correct answer of, hey, you know, who knows? But he did make a more than valid point, which is surprising he would be even asked that question right now. Is that, hey, you don't know what personnel moves teams are going to make. That's first and foremost. You know, number 2, he made the point, you never know what guys on what teams are going to step up and do things you never thought. And one of the reference points he made was about this Milwaukee bullpen. How guys all of a sudden have pitched better than they have in their entire lives. And it's why they're where they are, or part of the reason.
Well, would you have said that Corey Knebel would be an all-star coming into this season?
Bingo.
Be the absolute shutdown king? I don't think anybody would have said that. Got a good arm, but he had not really proven that he could pitch up here yet.
There's a rocket into right center field. Hamilton over to cut it off, and it bobbles the ball, and a run is going to score. And Walker's going to end up at 3rd. And the Brewers have taken a 2-1 lead.
That will probably be a double and an error on Billy Hamilton.
Question is, would they give him an RBI? Because I'm not so sure Even though Sogard runs pretty well. Oh, they're waving him around all the way. Maybe that was after the bobble, though.
I don't think he scores if Hamilton comes up with the baseball.
They have not put an error on the board. It'd be hard to imagine that would be a straight triple. I'm with you all the way on that. But the bottom line is the only category that matters is it's a 2-1 game. And Ryan Braun is the batter with 1 out. Infield in for the Reds. Looks like a jazzercise studio out in that Reds bullpen right now. I mean, their arms and legs moving around out there. Look at all this.
That's the way the bullpen is. When things start to rumble a little bit for your opponent, everybody gets up, starts stretching a little bit, get a little blood flow in that arm. They have definitely given Hamilton an error. And with that, I would say that that would be a no RBI.
Base hit center field. Have played another run. Three to 1 Milwaukee.
Right back up the box.
There's Travis Shaw with 2 in, 1 on, 1 out. Got to believe this is going to be it here shortly for Romano. He is zeroing in on 100 pitches in this game. This will be his 94th, and we are just in the bottom of the 5th inning with only 1 out. Double play ball here. And that will retire the side, but the Brewers strike for 2 and lead by 2. To be able to provide disaster relief immediately. Help those in need right now visiting redcross.org or text the word Red Cross all in capital letters to 90999 to make a $10 donation. Lord knows they could use your help. Kiblahan, who homered his last time up, hooks one into left field to start the Reds' 6th inning. So we'll keep an eye now on that Milwaukee bullpen. We brought up earlier that they're really watching the pitch count of Suter, who's come back from injury.
Breaking ball in the middle of the plate, all arm swing by Kiblahan. He was fooled by the speed, and he just hooks it in between the shortstop and the third baseman. Well, Jared Hughes, it appeared, was already throwing. You got 2 right-handers throwing in that Brewer bullpen now.
Yet Oliver Drake has joined Jared Hughes. Hughes on the left. The Brewers used 9 pitchers last night. That tied a franchise record. Last time that happened was in a 14-inning game. And Votto mashes this one to the gap in right center field. Kiblahan being held up by Billy Hatcher with nobody out in the inning. Now they throw back behind. And he just did get in there.
That was ugly. Ball is definitely into the right center field gap, but as the throw came in from the Brewer outfield, it was way offline. You watch Santana, actually it was Phillips that got the ball, and he's running Arcia back towards left field. If Kiblahan had kept going, he probably would have scored because the throw was offline. But with no out in the inning, Billy Hatcher decides to hold him up. You're in the middle of your order. Reds caught a break right there. They were fortunate he was not out at third base.
All right, so the Reds get a break. That could have easily been an out. Instead, they're at second and third for Scooter Gennett. So that's now 29 straight games he's reached base safely. Trying to go to 30 tomorrow at Wrigley Field in Chicago. That'll be a 2:20 afternoon start. All day games, the final 3 games of the year. Of course, the Reds have become the king of prime time at Wrigley Field in Chicago. They've played by far more night games than any other team in the last 5 years. Fly ball short left. This has a chance to fall. It will. Votto had a great read on that. He was already standing right behind Kiblahan. Billy Hatcher was telling Kiblahan to go, and Votto thought momentarily that Billy was telling him to go. It's a 1-run game.
Well, Votto realizes right away there's no chance Ryan Braun's going to get to this ball. But if you're looking at it from the third base spot on out, you can't quite judge the distance.
This young man from Moeller High School, I love the emotion this kid shows out there on the mound. I mean, he gets fired up.
There with you.
He cares. He's got a lot of passion about him. I'd imagine we'll see him in that Brewers rotation looking ahead to 2018. 2018. So Skyline Chili called to the bullpen. We're back in a moment. Check out Brent Suter, former Moeller Crusader. He was livid with himself out on the mound. And he can't wait to put that hat and glove down fast enough and then go take out his frustration somewhere down the hall with a bat. But he is hot. Players are listening to whatever it is he's beating up back there. Garbage can or something.
Better than your hand.
No question about that. All right, now Winker with a tying run at third and nobody out. Runner at first is Jeanette with an RBI single. You know, you look at two of the hits in this inning, and I mean, they were
just bloopers.
Total bloopers. Kiblahan just hooked one off the end of the bat into left field, and that little pop up by Jeanette sandwiched in between the rocket by Votto. Brewers took a 3-1 lead. In the bottom of the fifth as Oliver Drake takes over. Now there's a rocket into left by Winker. Scoring Votto, and we start again. All even at 3.
And if you're thinking, well, why didn't Craig Counsell bring the left-hander on to face Jesse Winker? Well, he brought Wong in the other night, and he got ripped, had to take him out. He used Josh Hader for, what, 2 2/3 innings in game 1. He's not available today. That's the only 2 lefties. The other lefty, his main lefty, started today. That would be Brent Suter.
And now another pitching change. This is going to go on and on and on for the rest of this game. Brewers trying to stay in the hunt. Our Miller Time moment brought to you by Miller Lite. The Reds have battled back to tie after falling behind a half inning ago, 3-1. It's now 3-3, and this inning continues on as Jared Hughes takes over on the mound.
Hughes, hard sinking fastball. Brewers are looking for a ground ball double play. Good move by Hughes as he turns back towards second, and Peraza showed his hand. He started to bunt. Now there is no doubt how the Brewers will play this.
Hey, if you make a perfect bunt and then Hughes can't find the handle and everybody's safe. I'm not even sure if he picks it up cleanly if he can throw out Peraza.
Pretty good bunt by Peraza here. He gets the ball on the left side of the infield. Hughes was trying to get to that third base line quickly. It appeared that the Brewers were going to leave Travis Shaw at home at third and try for the out there. Too good of a bunt by Peraza.
All right, they are loaded and still nobody out. Reds have 8 hits in a game, and they're looking to take the lead for what would be the second time in a game. Kiblahan's home run in the 4th inning put him up very briefly.
So they gave Jared Hughes an error there?
So they gave it a sacrifice and then an error.
Wow.
Yes. Adam Duvall behind 0-2. Reds have Luke Farrell getting loose in their bullpen. Duvall strikes out. That's the first out in the inning.
A bevy of sliders from the sinker ball right-hander, and Duvall just cannot pick it up. It's a big strikeout for Hughes. You get a ground ball to one of your infielders here. Turner's not very fleet of foot. Leave the bases loaded in the 5th. You don't get a hit here, it's going to be back-to-back innings where you had a grand opportunity to put some major runs on the board.
Tucker Barnhart, meanwhile, is standing in the on-deck circle. That is a pitcher spot next. Turner trying to break a 3-3 tie with the bases loaded and 1 out. Brewers have more action in their bullpen. If they tied a franchise record with 9 in the game last night, and that was with a starter not even getting through the 3rd inning, we might see 10 or 11 pitchers in this one, and we're already in the 6th. Nice play there by Vogt.
Looked like a slider from Hughes he was just trying to waste, and he almost wasted it to the bank stump.
My, oh my, oh my. Finally, Hughes getting a sign from his catcher. Here comes a pitch. It missed the inside corner.
Looks good if you're in either dugout. When you're up here, that's definitely inside.
In and out of the glove of the catcher, Vogt. Or maybe that hit him in the chest.
Well, this is the strength of Jared Hughes. That sinking fastball. That did hit Vogt in the chest protector.
All right, so still 3-2 on Turner. Bases loaded. And Turner fouls another one off. Double play ball here. Hughes had to get 4 outs. He made an error, remember. Sports Ohio Reds Fest presented by PNC Bank. It'll be December 1st and 2nd at the Duke Energy Convention Center. The big off-season event, Reds Fest, as good as it gets. Visit Reds.com/RedsFest. Well, up here in Wisconsin, they call it the sausage races. And it's only natural that pulling it out, the Polish dog in the final game at Miller Park here in 2017, at least regular season game. Let's say that. Regular season game. You got the chorizo, you got the brat, you got the hot dog. Stiff competition every single year. What's the other one? I'm forgetting one of them. You got brat, you got hot dog. How could you forget the Italian sausage? Kidding me?
You're killing me.
I like the one they do in D.C. where it's the same thing, same kind of race, but they have U.S. presidents of the past. That's pretty cool.
I like the Randy Johnson, Mark Grace.
Yeah, that's a
Matt
great one.
Williams.
Yeah, that's a good one. I don't think Grace has ever won that thing. There's strike 3 as Romano's back out there on the mound. And now he has a chance to retire the Brewers here in the 6th inning. His team take the lead in the 7th and maybe still get a win out of this inning. It's his 7th strikeout. #100th pitch of the game coming up for Sal Romano. Rhoda struck out and singled into right center field. Got Romano. It was a broken bat, but Romano's hurt.
Like you hit it right off the end of the bat. But it caught Romano right in the backside.
Yeah, right in the butt.
You're going to get smoked. That's not a bad place.
Especially when you go about 6'4", 240. Still hurts though.
Yeah, nice bruise. Carry that into the offseason with you. I'll trade a bruise for a win.
Romano twice has worked to the 102 pitch count. Today is the 3rd time, and now that's a new career high with that pitch right there, is 103rd. Quickly 0-2 on Orlando Arcia. Romano's spot is due to lead off the 7th, so this will be it for him. We wondered if the 5th inning would be it for him, and if Stuart Turner had kept the inning alive somehow, some way, they would have batted for Romano. But
yeah, because Tucker Barnard was already into the on-deck circle.
It's a good day to be a sports fan in Wisconsin. This is a kind of day you love. We have those in Cincinnati from time to time, or maybe you'll have a Reds game in the afternoon and the Bengals playing at Paul Brown Stadium at night. Of course, Green Bay's a little further than Paul Brown Stadium would be to Great American Ballpark. It's about an hour-and-a-half ride, but if you're just a Wisconsin sports fan, you have the Brewers playing in a big game here today. And then you have the Pack playing at Lambeau against their arch rivals tonight. The Chicago Bears. That has been a one-sided rivalry for a long, long time. In the Packers' favor.
Arcia really pulls off the ball as he brings that leg kick up, but he's still able to foul off pitches that have been middle to the outside corner, as he does there.
Ball 4. Second walk issued by Romano in this game. He's also hit a batter. And Mac Jenkins will trot out to the mound.
Well, if you're Sal Romano and the Reds, this is the guy you want. Especially with that big fella moving out into the on-deck circle, Jesus Aguilar.
A 3-3 game. We are in the bottom of the 6th inning at Miller Park. 2 outs, runner at first. RC has 14 stolen bases. He's been thrown out 6 times. The Reds have Farrell and now Wandy Peralta ready in the bullpen. Scalded into right field. And the runner's on his way to third. They're going to wave him around. Here comes a throw to the plate. Not going to be in time. A 2-out walk by Romano comes around to score on a double by Phillips.
Phillips tattoos this ball. It's middle, in, and up. And that may be all she wrote for Sal Romano.
Yep, it is. All right. Well, after Romano got hit in the backside with that one hopper off the bat of Stephen Vogt, he walked with 2 outs. Arcia. A double by Phillips, and the Brewers are back on top. We're back in a moment. We knew they had already broken the record, but all those seasons have one thing in common. They were not good years.
Losing.
Yes.
You want your starters to rack up the innings, not the bullpen.
Luke Farrell now takes over on the mound.
And there will be no change in the pinch hitter.
No.
Aguilar, doesn't matter if you're lefty or righty. He can hit.
If you found somewhere to play this guy every day, I think he'd put up some big time numbers because he's got a good eye at the plate. He's got incredible power.
I think the Brewers, in their haste to improve their first base situation this offseason, they signed Eric Thames, but they also brought this guy over. And they've both been outstanding.
Two outs in the inning. And I'll tell you one thing. There ain't no way this cat checks in at 250. That might be with the vitals say that they put in a media guide. This guy is a monster. Straight away, center field will retire the side. But a 2-out walk and then a double has put Milwaukee in front 4-3. Our Honda game summary. Kibland got the Reds on the board with a home run. An early 1-0 lead in the 4th inning. But the Brewers would tie the game and then take the lead when they came up with base hits in the 5th inning to score twice. But the Reds answered with Scooter Gennett, a little bleeder, and then a bullet by Winker to tie the game. Had 3 in the top of the 6th inning, but in the bottom of the 6th, after a 2-out walk, a line drive by Phillips, which plated Arcia all the way from first. And that's where we stand. Heading into the top of the 7th inning. And again, Craig Counsell goes to his bullpen. Well, he has been busy calling that bullpen. Anthony Swarzak takes over on the mound. Follows Drake, follow Hughes, did an incredible job. I mean, there are no two ways about that. He came in the game with 2 on and nobody out, 2 runs already in. He made an error which allowed the Reds to load him up, but then he got a strikeout and a double play to get out of the inning, and Barnhart pops up against Swarzak to start the inning. Billy Hamilton is 1 of 3. Singled in the 4th inning. And in essence was picked off. It scored as a caught stealing, but he started too early and they cut him down. Pitcher to first to short. Straight up and out of play.
You know, the conversation with Hamilton coming back after having the thumb issue was to be able to get back and steal some bases and keep D. Gordon from overtaking him in the stolen base category. But I don't believe he has a stolen base since he's been back. Of course, the last time Hamilton got picked off, came all the way around from first to score a run. That was against the Red Sox.
Swarzak walking about 8-10 feet behind the mound, and now he'll climb back on top of it.
It looked like a ball came out of the Reds bullpen, and Domingo Santana, the right fielder, had to retrieve it and get it off the field of play.
How in the world would a ball come out of the Reds bullpen?
Breaking ball in the dirt. Catches the shin guard of the bullpen catcher, hits off that back wall. Right over onto the field of play.
It's like the old Warren Commission.
I just happened to see it. And that is Wandy Peralta getting hot in a hurry down in the Reds bullpen.
Pretty good battle going on right here with Hamilton. And another grab by another fan in the stands up in the third deck.
Was down 2 strikes in this at bat quite early. Run the count full now.
He did not go around. That is a good plate appearance here by Hamilton. He draws a walk. Eight days away. Countdown to face-off is underway for the Blue Jackets home opener in Nationwide Arena. That's October the 6th. Presented by your local participating Wendy's. I tell you what, I don't know how some of these managers do it. I really don't. You're trying to get into playoffs, and you have 4 games left in the season. Your team gave up a lead. You just recapture the lead, and you walk the fastest guy in baseball who's hitting .250 with a .300 on-base percentage. I don't know how they do it. I really don't know how they do it. How in the world can a pitcher walk Billy Hamilton in the 7th inning of a 1-run game? Throw it underhanded up there. Am I wrong on that?
Well, he had
I mean,
two
come
strikes
on. I
two
understand
strikes
that.
He just wasn't able to put him away.
And a credit to Billy, he fouled off a number of pitches. I'm not suggesting that he's some pushover as an out. But there are certain guys you can walk, and then there are guys you just can't walk. See if Hamilton can get to second base this go round.
Well, this is not a good matchup from a pitcher's standpoint and a catcher's standpoint to try to hold Billy Hamilton. He does not even have to get a big lead to take this base. You can forget about that.
Easily.
You might as well just put that in your pocket or flip it on back to the pitcher.
And for Billy Hamilton, number 59.
And watch the jump Hamilton gets here. Hamilton had already taken a full step towards second before Swarzak actually let the ball out of his hand. Don't go to sleep on Hamilton at second base. He'll take third.
One and two on Kiblahan.
Swarzak just can't get that breaking ball anywhere near the plate. He had a tough time with Hamilton, and now he's having an as difficult time with Kiblahan at the plate.
So he just rears back and throws a fastball, and that's the second out of the inning. Well, there's no way they let Votto swing the bat here, is there? In a 1-run game?
I would not think so.
Well, when you talk about numbers, I mean, especially in this ballpark, IGS bringing the energy. That is what Votto has done. Career ranks in Milwaukee. This is his kind of hitting town. They all are for Votto. And I don't know why it took that long to intentionally walk him. They actually moved their defense like they were going to pitch to him, sending Arcia out into right field.
Well, Stephen Vogt never went down into a crouch behind home plate. He continued to look into the Brewers dugout, holding up 4 fingers. And even though the defense was shifting around, evidently somebody finally caught on.
Yeah. All right, so now a big chance for Scooter. Votto, by the way, is now 4 walks shy from becoming only the second Reds player with 1,000 career walks. Pete Rose had 1,210. Fouled away. Strike 1 to Scooter Gennett. Gennett looped a base hit to drive in a run just an inning ago. All 7 runs in this game have come in the last 3 innings. It's a 0-0 game starting the 4th, and now time is called. High hopper off the mound right at the shortstop, bending over. Swarzak walks too, but he gets out of it.
Seven years to the day.
Bruce digging in to start tonight. High drive, left center field, racing back to the wall, Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions.
That was one of the most exciting moments at the ballpark you'll ever experience. Walk-off home run to win the division. The Reds had 9 straight losing seasons before 2010, and they started that run of playoff runs 3 out of 4 years. And Tom, great call.
Thank you. It was a fun night. Well, it seems a lot longer ago than 7 years. Of course, there are about 48,000 people that'll tell you they were there that night. Well, we were certainly privileged to be there and grateful to be there. It was an awesome moment. Wandy Peralta now takes over on the mound. Brewers bat last of the 7th inning. A 4-3 Milwaukee lead. Sogard looks at a strike. 1-2. Peralta trying to finish up strong here these final 4 days. However, it might work out in the number of games that he will pitch in between now and Sunday early evening. And it's Sunday early evening because every game in Major League Baseball, you may remember they started this a couple of years ago. So you had all the games starting across the board at the exact same time. And of course, the idea being that, you know, if you had a couple of very important games on the East Coast as opposed to the old days where you had them, you know, 3 hours later on the West Coast, the West Coast game may not mean anything anymore by the time the early games were finished. So the idea of being able to scoreboard watch and all that kind of thing is exciting. Peralta was ahead 1-2, and he walks the leadoff man in the 7th inning. So now Neil Walker.
I'm sure Craig Counsell would like nothing more than to have a little bit of insurance with this one-run lead. Especially as much as he has had to burn through that bullpen here lately. Peralta's not quite been the same since he had the hip flexor issue. Missed about 12, 13, maybe a couple of weeks.
Two and one on Walker. And now 3 balls in the strike. Peralta has walked the first 2 batters here in this Milwaukee 7th inning.
Pitch started on the plate, but as it got to the call zone for home plate umpire Mike Everett, the ball just tailed off the outside corner. Now you're in the Brewers' thick of it with Ryan Braun and Travis Shaw waiting to play.
Swings in the first pitch in this at bat. And down a strike.
Starting to get a little noisy in here.
Threw a fastball right by him there to get ahead, 0-2.
Not give Braun a breaking ball that would be anywhere close to the plate that he could hit. Changeup, yes. Fastball, yes. Breaking ball, I don't think so. You beat him with a fastball in. Braun's bat seems to be a little bit behind the high velocity fastball at this time of the year. You start a breaking ball over the plate that's coming to him. Stay in and hard, or that changeup on the outside part of the plate on the outside corner.
Now that was nasty right there. Hard down and in. And that's an out. First of the inning.
Game with a breaking ball, but he did not leave it on the plate. You get it down and in, you get a swing right over the top. Well executed pitch.
Now you have a left-handed batting Travis Shaw with 2 on. Brewers with a 1-run lead here in the last of the 7th. Wave through a breaking ball there for strike 1 to Shaw. Very quiet 2 days for Shaw. Reds have done a good job on him. 0 for 3 today, including a big double play in that 5th inning. Should be another double play. Peralta found the bag and nicely turned there with Wandy getting there ahead of Shaw. You know, today will be my final game of this season, and I know that George Grant and Chris will be carrying you through the weekend in Chicago on the television side. Cowboy, you'll be heading back over to the radio side. And as always, I'd just like to take a minute and thank our incredible bosses, those of us who work for the Cincinnati Reds organization, and Mr. Bob Castellini, Phil Castellini, Karen Forgas, Lori Watt, and the entire crew, all the employees that work in the organization. Is just an incredible place to work. And so very grateful and blessed to be able to be there. Those at Fox Sports Ohio, our general manager Francois McGillicuddy, Tom Farmer, Bob Pennell. I mean, they are as good as it gets. Leah Herman, thanks for all your help all the time when we're bothering Francois. And you know, for every one of us maybe you see in front of the camera, there are dozens and dozens and dozens you don't see, but we would never get on the air without the work of so many incredible people that work in our ballpark and other ballparks around the league. But we think we have the best group right there in Cincinnati. And you know, graphics with us all year long, Jim Mueller and Lauren White. Our tape AD, Matt Sigafus, every step of the way, and Kevin Penowit. Directors today, Brian Filippetti. Been great to have him as part of our telecast this year, and Roy Alfers. both producing and directing for many, many years, Brian Hunterman. Producers of the pregame show, Kent Weaver, Ron Millinor and company. Kent produced a number of our games this year, and our primary game producer, Mr. Josh Hall. It is a pleasure, an honor, and a blessing to work with every single one of you, and look forward to many, many, many more years to come. This is an incredible place to work and a phenomenal organization. Two of them, the Reds and Fox Sports Ohio, to work for.
Where are you going?
Believe me, brother, I don't get paid to catch baseballs. I've been in a booth for 5 months this summer, and I ain't putting on a cast
Gotta
in
let
this
it
winter.
get over the net a little
I don't
bit
care.
now.
No way. No chance. And then, of course, the guys who work up here in the booth, Cowboy, can't thank you enough, brother. It has been awesome.
Look, brother,
Awesome.
we're awfully blessed to have this
You
gig.
better believe it. Chris Welsh, who, of course, is here most of the time, and what a great thrill and an honor it is to be with him, and Cowboy with you. We learned so much baseball from you guys who played the game each and every day. Jim Kelch and George Grand just done an extraordinary job again this year. And even though I don't get to work with my dad much anymore, just being in the ballpark is plenty enough, believe me. I think we know that. And Jim Day, it's been a pleasure to be with you, my man. I know you take a pretty semi-regular beating from a lot of us.
Semi.
I mean, it's a toss-up between you and Chris Welsh, who takes the primary beating on a daily basis. Straight up in the air off the bat of Winker, leading off the 8th. Good at bat by Winker, but it ends on a fly ball to center. But Jimbo, you do an incredible job. And again, we saw evidence of it last night, that interview you had with Joey Votto, the sit-down interview last week that we showed in 3 different portions. And then even the impromptu one after the game last night. I mean, it goes to show that hard work, perseverance, relationship building, all of those things pay off over the long haul. Congratulations.
Why, thank you, Tom.
What's the problem with you down there? Something happened?
Just like to oversell. That was a good sell.
It's the truth. We were talking about it before the game today. Soft liner off the bat of Peraza. I think Sogard was kind of surprised when you see a ball like that leave the bat. You think it's going to be a line drive, and the shortstop Arcee is giving him a hard time right now about jumping up in the air for that thing.
He jumped up and caught it down around his chest.
All right, so Duvall in a 1-run game. Adam has 31 home runs and 98 batted in. Swarzak walked 2 batters, 1 intentionally in the 7th. But he's retired the first 2 here in the 8th. Wojciechowski and Cody Reed are getting loose. So perhaps a little experimenting here by Brian Price to find out. I mean, you know, it would be only 1 game. We've seen Wojciechowski plenty enough, but not seen Reed in that kind of situation, except for the one time where he came in and got 1 batter out and wound up getting the save. You know, one final note about thanks. Cowboy, I know you feel the same way, but being my last game, I always want to thank my wife Polly and our kids Ella and Luke.
We'd never make it without them.
Because, you know, they're there by themselves so much when we're traveling and gone from home. And Honey, I love you kids. I love you guys. Thank you.
Driving those kids all over the place to all their events.
Oh, man. Never stops. And thank the Lord above for having a chance to come back this year. It was here I did a game last year. I didn't know if I was ever coming back to do a game after some throat surgery. And thank goodness it's held up. Thank God for that. So Duvall draws a walk. And now all of a sudden you have the go-ahead run coming to the plate in Stuart Turner.
Corey Knebel is getting loose in a hurry in the Brewer bullpen. I would imagine if this goes too much further, Craig Counsell is going to make a move and make it quickly. This may be the last batter that Swarzak faces here today in Justin Turner or Stuart Turner.
I've called him Justin Turner about 5 times. He's having a pretty good year.
Yeah. Dodger third baseman.
Yep. Real good. Turner with 84 plate appearances. He's hitting just 143. I know that Brian wants to see everybody and take a look. Golly, you got a lot of options on that bench right now. I mean, we're in the 8th inning and you're down to your final 4 outs of the game. Schebler's in the on-deck circle, but you got a Eugenio Suarez down there. And you're not going to hit for anybody once we roll over to the 9th inning.
Only problem is you don't have another catcher. You could use Wallach.
That will end the top of the 8th. Brewers will bat in the bottom of the 8th, leading by a run.
Precedes every game here on Fox Sports Ohio. Tomorrow from Chicago, before the game, you'll hear Well, two battling brothers, basically, including last night's outfield assist by Billy Hamilton. Him and Duvall constantly going at it.
As a baseball player from Mississippi, not Louisville, we know who our runners are. We know the type of situation if the guy's going to go to third or not. So I know that I didn't have to hit the cutoff man because Boat wasn't going to go to third. See, that's why you have to have baseball awareness, and that's one thing that we teach down south. You know, way down south, we teach that, and guys from Louisville don't know too much about that.
And I'm going to tell you, in that interview, they were going back and forth and just taking shots at each other. You'll see it tomorrow before the game.
That'd be good stuff. Come on, Jim, one final time. Let me hear a little Billy, just for the final time, just for me.
Well, man, when you be down south in Mississippi, see, you just gotta have baseball awareness. Plus, I'm faster than Adam Duvall. I don't need that. You know, some things I can just do because I'm faster and stuff like that. So, you know, I outrun the ball. You gotta outrun the ball.
That's pretty good.
That's really good. Asher Wojciechowski, meanwhile, taking over on the mound. 4-3. Brewers bat last of the 8th inning. Will this be the final at bat at Miller Park for the Brewers here in 2017? You know, they're hoping that they would be playing, what, a game 3, I guess it would be conceivably, of the National League Division Series, because they would, should they capture the wild card, and they would be 2 back if they can nail this one down going into the final weekend with 3 to go. They would have to play a 1-game playoff in Arizona, where, of course, Craig Counsell was a former World Series champion and postseason star with the Diamondbacks. And from there, they would have to play the Dodgers. First 2 games on the road in the opening round of the division series. Of course, that's a lot of baseball between now and then, but we'll see. 3-2 on Domingo Santana. And a breaking ball that's nowhere near the plate on 3-2. Come on, I mean, I know I sound like a broken record, but I mean, are you kidding me? We saw Brian Price go ballistic in the dugout over that exact same thing last night. And last night you were winning 6-0, so he was even more baffled. I mean, guys are trying to make the team for next year, and those are the kinds of things the manager just simply won't forget. Back in a moment. Right after Reds Live on the Tri-State Tailgate presented by Columbia Hyundai Genesis. Jeff Okoro, Tony Pike will preview this weekend's games for the Bengals, UC, Ohio State, and other local college teams. It's all coming up after the game on Fox Sports Ohio and streaming on Fox Sports Go. big weekend. In fact, the high school local scene kicks off with a big game tonight as Indian Hill hosts Marymount, two of the highest scoring teams in the entire region. Wally Rennie, the standout quarterback over at Marymount, he was just named the Enquirer's Player of the Week yesterday, and he missed 2 games with a hip injury. Keon Broxton is running over at first. Vogt the batter, and here's Cody Reed. When this season began, Reed was pitching out of the bullpen, but make no mistake about it, the game plan was for Reed to become a mainstay in the starting rotation and to excel as a member of the rotation. He got 1 start. It could not have gone worse, when he just simply could not find the strike zone, a lot like what we saw from Cody Reed last year when they brought him up. And in 10 starts, he went 0-7 with an ERA of over 7. And his control woes have continued down in Louisville this year. I mean, this is right now one of the great mysteries in the Reds organization, is trying to find a way. It was this time a year ago. This guy was the man. And the way he had pitched at the AAA level, coming off an incredible year at the AA level before the, coming over from the Kansas City Royals organization along with Lamb and Finnegan for Johnny Cueto. Tapper back to the mound, and Reed will take the out right at first base, and that's the first out of the inning. Broxton on the second. What do you see moving forward, Cowboy, for Cody Reed?
Well, at this point in time, he's auditioning for an additional left-handed spot out of that bullpen. I think the Reds ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, would like to see him as a starter. But that just hasn't panned out. You've got to throw more consistent strikes, number one, out of the bullpen in these situations. Then you can transition back into that starter role.
Well, they say they're trying to change Reed's mechanic. What does that mean?
Trying to get his hips,
specifically to him,
hips back towards the plate, get him on top of the ball rather than out to the side towards first base. Going from second to home rather than spinning. And both left-handers that we've seen with Amir Garrett and Cody Reed are both in that same boat. A lot of side-to-side motion rather than back and driving the ball to the plate. You hate to be cynical about it, but you say to yourself, and I've heard many fans ask me these questions, so, but you say to yourself, wait a minute, aren't those things that should have been adjusted by now? In the minor leagues. I mean, it's not like you're talking about Amir Garrett and Cody Reed are like, guys that were signed out of high school and they're, 19 or 20 and they've only been in pro ball or maybe in your system for a year or two. These guys are 24, 25 years old. And having trouble. Physical aspects of the game, whether you're a hitter or a pitcher, are to be ironed out before you get here. Once you get here, the number one thing that you should be working on is your mental understanding of the game and how to get big league hitters out or hit big league pitching, not having to worry about mechanics and how do I hold the bat or how do I stand on the mound. I mean, those things should have been handled years ago. Nice changeup right there, taking care of Arcia.
So 2 are out here in the Milwaukee 8th inning. Brewers lead 4-3. To the third baseman. Hey, when all's said and done, Reed came in there, did a nice job. Good for him. It's nice to see for Cody Reed. That's good stuff. All right. 9-1-2 coming up. Votto would bat 4th in the inning. ...2018 Reds season tickets. You can swing the bat and give it a shot. Swing for Your Seats event is Saturday, October the 7th. That's a week from this Saturday. Step up to the plate, hit a home run. You get your season tickets for free. For more information, and there are some rules and restrictions, 765-7500 or visit Reds.com. All right. As soon as you hear that old Joe Walsh rock and roll tune, Rocky Mountain Way, you know that means that Corey Knebel is making his way to the bullpen mound here in Milwaukee. What a year this guy has had.
Been a big reason that the Brewers are where they are right now.
Yep.
All-star closer. Put up some phenomenal numbers.
Yeah, we got to find out.
In that league, this guy's gotten them out.
We got to find out after the game. Kozar, we know, did not start because he tweaked the squad last night, but we got to find out if something's going on down there with Suarez in the last half inning. The Reds right now have 3 catchers on their team, and they had one available the last half inning was Schebler. Now, he was in the on-deck circle, but the point was is that with 2 outs in the inning and a runner on, you had a guy who's hit 30 home runs that you could put in the back, and another guy with almost 25 home runs in Suarez that you could have put in the back. But who knows? Maybe Suarez, maybe there's something going on that the club would just prefer not to talk about. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Just blew him away on high gas. How about that number right there? He's done plenty of that, more than any other National League reliever. That's saying something, because when we saw Kenley Jansen this year, he looked about the most unhittable pitcher I've ever seen. And then when you drop that on him on a first pitch breaking ball, whoo,
spike knuckle curve. Come back with 98 gas on the outside corner. First pitch, breaking ball for a strike. Nobody wants to swing at that. And then you're able to paint at 98. That's why you're closing.
And why you lead everybody in strikeouts. Now that Aroldis Chapman is gone, it's an open derby for most strikeouts by a reliever. He had the complete corner on that market as a red leg. Oh. That thing looked like it was 120 miles an hour. Didn't it?
And when the pitch is down, it looks like it's scooting along the ground.
And with that kind of movement, well, you're hoping that somehow, some way, Kiblahan can find a way to reach. He's had a good day. He has 2 hits, a home run, a single, has scored twice. But you've got Votto down there in the on-deck circle. See if the Reds can give him a chance. That one at 99 miles per hour from Knegal. He just wanted to get this thing over with that pitch. Golly days, he throwing hard. And in that breaking ball for the first, and it's in time. And that's the old ball game. So the Brewers move to within 2 in the National League wild card race with 3 to go. And in their home finale of 2017. And they will jump on a plane and make their way to St. Louis tonight, where they'll start a series tomorrow. And Craig Counsell's team will try to overcome that 2-game deficit behind the Colorado Rockies, who will host the Los Angeles Dodgers in the first of the final 3 tomorrow night in Denver. Back with more in a moment.